They deserve to get what they get because you shouldn't have never partake and played a part in what happened with Duke the Jeweler. And everybody thought that it was just going to be overlooked and that just going to be covered up. And everybody know for a fact how they get down. We know how Boosie them get down. But J. Prince Jr., he tried to keep it silent. He tried to keep it silent for a long time, and he ain't say nothing else about Duke the Jeweler.
It really looks like Finesse2Tymes just got outplayed, and not by just anybody, but J. Prince Jr. Yeah, that name carries weight. This whole situation is getting crazy fast. His contract just hit the spotlight, and people are shocked at what's inside. No joke, this might be one of the harshest deals anyone's seen in a minute. Before diving into all the details, you gotta understand how Finesse has been moving when it comes to the Prince family, because that connection might end up being a serious mistake, no doubt about it. Things are starting to get real messy, and it's not looking good for anyone involved. This situation goes way deeper than it seems on the surface, and once you really see how everything is structured, it'll have you second-guessing the whole setup.
Until he went on that interview.
People were associating me with that Duke the Jeweler situation because I went to the Boosie pool party and he happened to be there and he happened to be standing on me. I mean, right next to me. The truth is, I never met him before.
We're talking big money, complicated paperwork, and a powerful family dynamic that can flip everything upside down in a flash. So here's how it all kicked off. Back in September 2022, Finesse2Tymes thought he was making a major power move. He linked up with Mob Ties Entertainment, J. Prince Jr.'s label, believing he finally secured a real shot at the next level. On the surface, it looked like a win, no question. But what if that deal wasn't a win at all? What if it actually put him in a position that's been draining him ever since? The second that contract started making rounds, people immediately started side-eyeing it. This is not your typical deal setup at all. It's built in a way that feels way too one-sided once you really break it down. On paper, it's labeled as an exclusive service agreement, but once you dig deeper, you start seeing layers on top of layers, all designed to split up his earnings in ways most artists never even think about. Normally, when artists sign, it's pretty straightforward.
He got killed leaving because somebody tried to rob him. But this is a situation with a dude that I didn't even know. I ain't know his name. I had no knowledge of him. I ain't know he was from Chicago. I ain't know he was a jeweler until social media started trying to point a finger because he was standing next to me, and it's just unfortunate that something transpired after another dice game, but neither incidents.
One label, one contract, one clear split. Everybody knows what they're getting. But this situation, it's a whole different story. Instead of just one company taking a cut, there are multiple groups involved, all pulling from the same pot. That means Finesse's money is getting sliced up from different angles, making everything way more complicated than it should be. Now let's get into that advance, because this is where things really start looking questionable. Artists usually get an advance as upfront support to help build their career. That's standard. But here, the way that money is structured has people raising serious concerns. Even with that advance, Finesse is only holding on to a portion, while the rest gets divided up in a way that clearly leans in favor of the other side. According to the contract details, every dollar coming in gets split 3 different ways. Finesse gets 35%, Mob Ties takes another 35%, and the remaining 30% goes to JPE, James Prince Entertainment. And yeah, that name connects straight to J. Prince Sr., which means both father and son are pulling from the same deal at the same time. Break it down simple. If $1 million comes in,
had anything to do with a dice game.
Once he went on that interview, he said he didn't know Duke the Jeweler. He didn't even know that was Duke the Jeweler from Chicago that was standing next to him. It made a bad look and it put a bad taste in the Fed's mouth. The Fed said that they not gonna stop until they get every last person who was sitting up in that dice game, sitting there orchestrating everybody to be on point.
Finesse only walks away with $350,000. J. Prince Jr. grabs another $350,000, and J. Prince Sr. takes $300,000. That split alone has people talking heavy, because most of the money is already gone before the artist even gets comfortable. And it doesn't stop there, not even close. That advance Finesse received, it's not just free cash to enjoy. It has to be paid back from his share before he sees any real profit. So if he got a $200,000 advance, he'd need to generate well over $500,000 just to break even on his end. Meanwhile, the other sides are still collecting their percentages the entire time, which makes the situation feel even more intense the deeper you look into it. And here's where it gets even more layered. Both Mob Ties and James Prince Entertainment are based out of Texas, with ownership clearly linked between J. Prince Jr. and his father. That kind of setup means one deal is feeding multiple connected companies at once, and that raises real questions about how balanced everything actually is. Think about it like signing to one label, then finding out another company tied to the same circle is also getting paid off your work. That's a lot to process. That's not the kind of setup most artists expect when they sign a deal, and it completely shifts the power balance. To keep it real, the Prince family has been in the music business for decades. J. Prince Sr. built a serious name through Rap-A-Lot Records and knows the ins and outs of contracts at a high level. So when deals like this come together, they're usually crafted very carefully to fit their system. But here's where things start getting tricky. When multiple connected parties are all earning from the same artist, it raises real questions about who the deal is actually built to support. If one side is supposed to guide the artist but is also financially tied into other parts of the same agreement, that can blur the lines fast. And it goes even deeper than that, because this isn't just about music sales alone.
So when Duke the Jeweler walk outside, they can do that to him. Man, R.I.P. Duke the Jeweler. Hit the like button if you rockin' with Duke the Jeweler. Hit the like button if you think that this was a setup. Everybody know exactly how Boosie get down.
This is a full 360 deal, which means a percentage gets taken from almost every income stream tied to Finesse's career. We're talking shows, merch, endorsements, appearances, and more. The contract reportedly even allows the use of his name, image, and likeness for business moves, meaning money can be generated from all angles while still getting split under that same structure. That level of control can seriously affect how much the artist actually keeps at the end of the day. Put it into numbers. If he performs and brings in $10,000, his cut drops to $3,500. If merch pulls $5,000, he's looking at $1,750. Even a $20,000 endorsement only leaves him with $7,000 under that same split. And when you really look at that merchandise clause, it stands out even more once you realize how much is being carved out.
Boosie, he did what he did, but he should have never touched that jewelry. Duke the Jeweler had over $1 million in jewelry. Inside of Boosie master bedroom in the closet. Boosie was supposed to keep his whole bag and his whole collection safe, but instead Boosie went in there and did what he did.
Products using his name and brand can be created, pushed out, and sold while he's only collecting a slice of the money. That means a big chunk of the profits tied to his own image could still be going somewhere else, depending on how everything is structured. That alone has people looking at this deal sideways. Then it gets even heavier with the long-term commitment. This deal reportedly locks him in for 5 albums, and that's a serious obligation in today's fast-moving music world. Most artists aim for shorter deals to keep flexibility, but being tied into 5 full projects can make it tough to pivot if things don't go the right way. Now sure, the royalty rate does go up a little over time, starting around 14% and climbing to about 16%. But here's the catch. Those percentages only apply to his portion, not the total revenue coming in. So even though it sounds like a raise, the actual difference in money might not hit as hard as people think. Another big issue is control over releases. If there's no guaranteed promotion or clear timeline, projects can get delayed while the contract is still active. That kind of setup can slow everything down, especially during key years when momentum matters the most. And that's where this situation starts to feel even more intense. Looking at Finesse's journey makes it hit different. Coming out of Memphis, he put in years of work, dealt with real struggles, and stayed focused on building something through music. Now at 33, timing is everything in an industry that moves fast. Every opportunity counts, and every year can shape the direction of a career. Since signing, only a couple of projects have officially dropped over a span of years. And that's got people questioning the pacing and the level of support behind the scenes. He's reportedly been carrying a lot of the load on his own, handling visuals, pushing promotion, and still being locked into the deal. There are even claims he used his own money to cover things a label would normally take care of. That adds a whole extra layer of pressure, and it's not what most artists expect when they sign up for support. Things turned real emotional when Finesse spoke out during a live session. He didn't hold back either. He opened up and said, "Junior, let me go. We already made all the money we can make together. I don't want to go to no other label with you. I love you, but I no longer want to be mob ties business-wise." That moment hit different because it felt raw and unfiltered. It wasn't just frustration. It sounded like someone reaching a breaking point after putting in years of effort. Watching things move slow while others seem to level up around you can weigh heavy, and it showed. Then it got even more serious when he spoke on responsibility, saying, "I got kids to feed, I got bills to pay, and I'm out here looking crazy because I can't provide the way I should be able to." That right there added real-life pressure to everything. Another line that stood out was, "P, let me go make my money. It's over with. We done this." That didn't come off like anger.
As soon as Duke the Jeweler walked outside, Lil Cam and Boosie nephew was waiting outside. This coming straight from Atlanta. I want y'all to know, man, this is a sad situation. Let me know if y'all from Atlanta down in the comment section. Let me know if y'all from Tennessee, man. At the end of the day, they should have never got out like that, and they should have never did that to nobody from Chicago or from Atlanta at all.
It felt more like someone asking for a clean exit after hitting their limit. At the same time, he pointed to the wealth on the other side of the deal, which sparked even more talk once people started thinking about how much money is already in play. People start asking a real question: how much is actually enough? From a business angle, a contract is a contract. It's legal on paper. But from the public's view, fairness starts to matter just as much, if not more. That's where opinions begin to split, especially when one side looks like it's holding way more power than the other. J. Prince Sr. has a long history in the industry, with real experience and major success behind his name. No one can deny that. But situations like this put a spotlight on how deals are being structured today, and how they affect artists still trying to build their way up. The comparison people keep making is simple. When someone with major resources continues taking large percentages from someone still growing, it's going to raise eyebrows every time. Even if everything lines up within the contract terms, the conversation doesn't stop there. Now things get even more intense because it's no longer behind closed doors. Speaking out publicly about a deal tied to a powerful name can shift the whole situation fast, especially in an industry where reputation means everything. The Prince name carries serious influence, not just in Houston, but far beyond. And once something like this goes public, it rarely stays quiet. When business issues turn into public debates, the pressure goes up for everyone involved. The Prince family has deep connections across the music world, and that kind of reach can change careers overnight. We're talking about networks that can open doors, or make them a lot harder to get through, while also shaping what happens behind the scenes in ways people don't always see. When someone goes up against a network like that, it stops being just one situation. It turns into something way bigger. And right now, Finesse sounds like he's at a point where staying quiet just isn't an option anymore. He's even said he's willing to meet anywhere by himself just to try and fix everything. That's how serious it's gotten. That kind of move shows confidence, no doubt, but it also shows the pressure he's under. One line that really hit was when he said, "I don't have a daddy that's worth 300 million, so I know it's easy for you not to care." That statement speaks loud. It shows exactly how he sees the gap in power, money, and influence, and he's not hiding from it at all. And this situation goes beyond just one artist. This kind of story keeps showing up in the industry again and again. New artists get excited, they see a big opportunity, and they jump at the deal without fully understanding what's in it. Then later, they realize what they signed up for, and by then, it's way harder to move around. You can look at other high-profile situations people still talk about. Megan Thee Stallion had her issues with 1501 Entertainment. Things took off fast, but then came the struggle over control and trying to renegotiate. That situation turned into a long legal battle over her career direction. And then there's Lil Wayne with Cash Money. At one point, he was one of the biggest names out, but still couldn't drop music when he wanted because of contract problems. These situations show how serious these agreements can get once they're locked in. That situation dragged on for years before anything finally shifted, and it shows how long these battles can really last once they start. Even outside of music releases, legal issues can stack up fast in this industry. For example, it was reported that Lil Wayne has pleaded guilty to a federal weapons charge. He faces up to 10 years in prison. Moments like that highlight how quickly things can spiral when business and personal situations collide at the same time. The wild part is, deals like this are way more common than people realize. A lot of big-name artists likely started off with contracts that didn't fully work in their favor. The difference is, some eventually renegotiate and level things out while others stay quiet and never speak on it publicly. Now, from a legal standpoint, this is where everything gets locked in tight. Once that contract is signed, it becomes binding, and walking away is not simple at all. Even if the deal feels one-sided, trying to break it can come with serious consequences. We're talking penalties, heavy legal costs, and even lawsuits if someone tries to exit early. Labels usually have strong legal teams behind these agreements, building them to hold up under pressure. So getting out of a deal like that takes time, strategy, and a lot of resources. It's not something that happens overnight. But here's the real truth. Just because something is legal doesn't always mean it's fair. A lot of these contracts are packed with complex language that can be hard to fully understand. Without the right guidance, artists can get caught up in the excitement of the moment and not realize how much control they're actually giving away. Finesse might have thought he was signing a regular deal, not realizing just how much of his career was tied into it. That's where things start to hit different. While he's dealing with that, he's also watching others around him level up fast. Artists from the same area are building wealth, buying homes, and growing strong brands, while he's still trying to recover money he already put into his own work. Names like Moneybagg Yo keep coming up in these conversations because of the success coming out of Memphis. Meanwhile, Finesse is stuck in a situation that limits how much he can really earn. Even with talent and some support behind him, he said himself that he could be making 10 to 20 million if he had more freedom in his deal. That's not small money at all. That's life-changing income that can shift generations. Imagine knowing you've got that kind of potential, but being legally held back from reaching it. Watching others lock in major deals while you're working with smaller returns has to weigh heavy over time, no question.
You see, Takeoff, he could have made it home if he would have never went to that dice game, man. He wasn't even shooting dice. Duke the jeweler, if he would have just went out there to Houston and just instantly made his money and then left and went back to his hotel.
And then there's the recoupment side, which trips a lot of people up. Even though he's only getting 35% of the revenue, he still has to pay back advances and expenses out of that share before he sees any extra profit. So if he got $200,000 up front, that has to be earned back from his portion first. Meanwhile, the rest of the split keeps moving like normal, which can make progress feel slow no matter how much work he's putting in. What makes it even tougher is that a lot of the expenses are controlled on the label side. Studio time, marketing, videos, promotion, all of that can get counted as costs before he ever sees real profit. So even when big money starts coming in, those expenses can slow everything down. That's where the numbers start to feel overwhelming for a lot of artists. Now add streaming into the mix and it gets even more complicated. Platforms don't pay much per stream, so artists need huge numbers just to make real money. A song hitting 1 million streams might only bring in a few $1,000s total. From there, his percentage gets applied, and then taxes and other costs start cutting into that even more. By the time everything is said and done, what he actually keeps can be way smaller than people expect when they hear 1 million streams. Meanwhile, independent artists are often holding on to a much bigger piece of that same revenue. That means the pressure doubles. He has to pull in way more streams just to match what an independent artist could earn with less. And consistency is everything in this era. Dropping music regularly, staying visible, and building momentum is key. But if releases are delayed or not fully backed, it can slow the whole process down. That's where things start to feel stuck. Then social media adds even more pressure. Every day, artists are posting wins, showing off their lifestyle and highlighting their growth. It creates this constant comparison, and when someone feels like they're not moving at the same pace, it can hit even harder behind the scenes. That constant visibility makes everything feel even heavier when someone feels stuck. On the business side, what really stands out here is the emotional weight behind it all. Finesse went from being excited about his career to publicly asking for a way out of his situation, and that shift says a lot. He's even talked about being 33 and feeling like time is moving fast in an industry that never slows down. Every year locked into a tough deal is a year you can't get back. That pressure builds up and you can hear it when he speaks. He's describing doing the work of an independent artist while still being tied into a deal, funding projects, pushing promotion, building a fan base, all while giving up a large percentage of the results. That kind of setup can wear anybody down over time. Working harder but seeing less return creates a gap that's hard to ignore. And on top of that, the connections on the other side still carry weight. We're talking relationships with radio, playlists, booking agents, and key industry players who can influence what happens next. Even if something changes on paper, those ties can still shape opportunities behind the scenes. But when someone starts to feel cornered, speaking out becomes one of the only moves left. For Finesse, his voice is what he's using to shine a light on everything going on. And this situation goes way beyond just one contract. It opens up bigger questions about how deals are built and how often artists end up in situations they didn't fully see coming. It also makes people wonder how many others are going through similar setups but choosing to stay quiet. Because if this can happen on this level, there's a good chance it's happening in more places than people realize. How many careers have slowed down because of deals that didn't really work in the artist's favor? That question alone makes you look at the whole system differently. Is it really built to support artists long-term? Or is it more about maximizing profit wherever it can? The music industry has always had that gap between business knowledge and raw talent, and when that gap isn't handled early, situations like this can pop up fast. Today, there's more information out there than ever before, and more independent artists are proving there are other ways to win. That's why understanding the business side is just as important as the creative side now, because not every opportunity is what it looks like on the surface. Some deals come with long-term costs that don't show up until way later, and by then, it can be hard to move around. What happens next in this situation could affect more than just one artist. If things shift in Finesse's favor, it might push others to start speaking up about their own contracts. But if it goes the other way, it could make people think twice before saying anything at all. Right now, the industry is watching closely because this could go in any direction. But no matter how it plays out, one thing is already clear. Finesse put a spotlight on how these contracts really work behind the scenes. He brought attention to how artists can get locked into deals for years without people fully realizing what's going on. And when you really break it down, that's the bigger picture here. A deal with a heavy split, a 5-album commitment, and a full 360 structure touching every dollar that comes in, that's the kind of setup that can shape an entire career, for better or worse. It creates a system where the artist keeps grinding nonstop while others collect most of the rewards. And that's exactly why so many people are reacting to this right now. The numbers, the structure, the long-term lock-in, it all stacks up in a way that has people seriously questioning how fair these deals really are in today's game. When you really look at it, this isn't just about one situation. It's about a bigger pattern that keeps showing up. Artists put in the work, build the buzz, and carry the pressure, but the way these deals are designed can shift a huge portion of the outcome away from them. That's why conversations like this are getting louder, because people are starting to pay closer attention to how everything is set up behind the scenes. If you want more breakdowns like this, make sure you hit like, subscribe, share, and drop a comment so you don't miss what's coming next. There are more stories out there that expose how the business really moves, and some get even wilder than this.